COVID-19 is keeping more people at home, but does that connect to an increase in fire calls? The Maple Grove Fire Department reports some sobering numbers, as reporter Sonia Goins explains.
Fire deaths last year were the highest they've been since 2017. That's according to the state fire marshal. And here in Maple Grove, a sobering statistic. There were 2 fire fatalities in a year, something that's never happened before.
2020 was not a good year for us.
In December, a 52-year-old Maple Grove woman died in a fire at Hanson Implement and Storage. Orange and red flames lit up the sky as firefighters battled the 2-alarm fire. The cause is still being investigated.
There were some small bangs, possible propane cylinders. Anybody that was inside that house, they weren't going to be able to survive.
And in January, an 80-year-old Maple Grove woman died in a house fire. All 5 Maple Grove fire stations responded to the call. Crews weren't able to get inside the home because the flames were too intense.
We had 2 fatalities, which is something that is not normal out here. It's never happened before in this city. So we're looking forward to hopefully turning that around in 21.
Officials say cooking is the leading cause of residential fires.
And they'll turn that back on that stove and leave it on, and the next thing you know, you have a fire.
This is the aftermath of a cooking fire. As you can see, it caused a lot of damage. Fire experts say these types of fires are caused by people not paying attention.
Stay and look when you cook.
Fire educator Jeremy BERGER simulated what to do if your pot or pan catches fire while you're cooking.
Take a lid or a cookie sheet, slide it over, turn the burner off, get outside and call 911.
You can also take preventative measures and buy a device called Stovetop Fire Stops.
Inside this can is a fire extinguishing powder that drops out on the stove, putting that fire out. You don't even have to be in the room for them to work, which is really great.
Maple Grove officials are particularly worried about the winter months.
We're getting a lot more calls in.
Because a lot of people are staying at home due to COVID-19.
The more people that are home, the more chances that they have for things to go wrong.
A lot more people are also using space heaters. Officials say that's okay as long as it's new and up to code.
Make sure that it has tip-over protection and that it has an overheat sensor.
He says whatever you do, never plug a space heater into an extension cord or power strip.
Space heaters draw a lot of electricity, and our extension cords and our power strips simply aren't rated to handle the amount of electricity.
The experts also recommend working smoke alarms in every sleeping area and hallway. In Maple Grove, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
The Robbinsdale City Council is considering a ban on conversion therapy. If the measure passes, Robbinsdale would be about the 8th city in Minnesota to prohibit licensed providers from practicing conversion therapy on minors or vulnerable adults. The fines would be $100 for the first violation, with fines doubled after that. The council considered the ordinance last week and still has to vote on it once more. Golden Valley issued a proclamation against conversion therapy last year. Also in City Council news, this week, the Plymouth City Council will kick off the new year with a discussion on regulating chickens and bees. Currently in Plymouth, chickens are considered farm animals and only allowed in certain zoning districts. However, in response to an increased interest in suburban raising of chickens and bees, the city is reviewing their policies. Nearby, New Hope and Crystal allow 4 and 3 hens respectively, but no roosters. The rules vary more from suburb to suburb when it comes to bees. Bees are currently only allowed in agricultural areas in Plymouth. Meanwhile, Brooklyn Center will continue its consideration of clarifying the current snowmobile and all-terrain vehicles ordinance at its council meeting this week. The ordinance update does not restrict snowmobiles, but it does limit the hours of operation on private property and adds requirements like a muffler and proper lights and reflective material. The city said they've had some complaints over the years regarding these types of vehicles. There will be a public hearing this week so people can weigh in on what they think. For parents, having a newborn in intensive care is distressing enough. Then factor in COVID, which places limits on visitors. But a new technology at the Maple Grove Hospital NICU is helping families feel better connected.
For parents with infants in the NICU, it's emotionally difficult to leave their babies.
We have parents a lot of times that even don't want to go home at night, whether it's to be home with the siblings or or to take a break or have a date night with their husband.
Jen Nelson, the assistant nurse manager with the Family Birth Center at Maple Grove Hospital, explains that it's not just COVID-19 forcing families away.
We have babies that are here. They can be born as early as 23 weeks, and so obviously they're going to be here for a long time. They'll be here for months. And so by that point, mom may have gone back to work already as well.
So even before the pandemic, the hospital put in orders for a new technology called NICU. It just so happened that tool arrived during a time when hospitals began restricting visitors.
It does a live video feed of the baby 24/7. And then the parents are able to log into a secure website where they can watch that live feed at any point in time.
The cameras are mounted by the newborn's bedside. Parents get a URL link with a username and passcode. Parents can then share that link to family members.
Additionally, if mom is COVID positive and can't come in, or if dad happens to be ill and isn't able to come in, then they can use that to be able to see baby at home too.
Nurses also have the capability to leave messages to parents.
Nurses can log into the system and leave like little notes, like if they just gave them a bath or something like that, they can leave a little note there and said, oh, we took a bath today, and so leaving them little kind of text messages and stuff like that in there, so that they can kind of know what's been going on during the day too.
Nelson says the cameras keep parents actively involved with the care team, and it prepares parents to care for their little one when it's time to go home.
We are always looking for things to make families more comfortable when they can't be there at the hospitals.
Pafu Yang, CCX News.